Hi everyone. I'm sitting in the car today because the rain's even worse than it was yesterday. So I'm just gonna have to do this while I stand still or sit still. I normally like to walk while I talk. So I must apologise for the length of the video yesterday, but that story, it had to be told in one go. You know, it was a big story, and I didn't want to give it to you in parts. I just wanted to get it out of the way, tell you like what happened. So where are we at? The aftermath, I suppose. So when I came back, my life had completely changed. It was like I never really came fully back. I think it's probably a decent way to describe it. There was like a there was like a space between me and the character that is called Dave Hunt. There was like people would say a witnessing presence. That's who I was identified with more than I was identified with the character. And so I suppose in a way, like when I said that, like a part, I felt like I was dying that night when it happened. It was almost true in a way, because I think there was like a part of me that died, as in like the false part of me that died, and I couldn't get it back even if I tried. It doesn't mean that I spent the rest of my life sitting under a tree cross-legged or anything. Like I still had dramas and all the rest of it, and it's just that there was always a gap between like what was happening to Dave or what Dave was doing and who I was, who I identified with. I just became this silent awareness behind the character. I had like a sense that it had happened for a reason, and that I must be here to do something. I started getting like moved towards information and stuff. Like I had like a weird like experience shortly after where I walked into a bookshop and a book fell off a shelf in front of me, landed at my feet, and it was a book by David Icke, and it was called "Infinite Love is the Only Truth. Everything else is illusion." So I got the book, and I got home that day, and my wife at the time, she said, "Oh, I've been up the library today." She said, and they were selling off these books, you know, cheap. She said, "I got you this book for some reason." She said, "I just thought you might like it, see what you think." And it was another David Icke book. It was Children of the Matrix. So I was like, oh, something's going on here, you know. So I read Infinite Love cover to cover, and it deeply resonated with me. It was like he was describing through ayahuasca experiences, something very similar to what I'd been through, and I felt like a deeper part of myself was like trying to talk to me, you know, trying to like say, "Look, read this. You know, this is a way of explaining like what happened to you." So, which it felt like it did, and then Children of the Matrix was a darker book, and that also resonated with the other stuff that I was telling you about yesterday, where I was told about some darker situations in this world, and I had no problem like accepting it as truth, you know. Like I thought, yep, that's exactly what I was told, and me and this David Icke bloke seemed to be going through something similar, you know. Like he was talking about his awakening and stuff. Obviously, it happens to everyone differently. Ours wasn't exactly the same, and we weren't going through the same experiences. As far as I know, David doesn't go through the same kind of contacts that I was going through, or the other stuff like the abductions and stuff. But there was definitely a resonance there, and he was talking about these truth vibrations that were building in the world, and that it was going to build. And like I say, if you watch him now talking on YouTube, he will sort of say that at the time there was no evidence for it, and but now, I mean, there's just so many people now that are resonating with that truth and seeing the problems, if you like, in the world, and looking for solutions. And they're not looking for those solutions in the world, they're looking for the solutions with consciousness. And I absolutely resonate with that. So I want to talk a little bit, I want to keep this video shorter, but I want to talk a little bit about distractions. So obviously, in one sense, the whole world is a distraction, and for a majority of people that are going through life in like a slumber, which I said is, I don't have a problem with. I've got no issue with that. But TV, sex, cars, money, holidays, all that stuff. It's a big enough distraction to keep them, preoccupied with life and not looking inwards, but constantly just looking outwards and going about their business and stuff, and not asking too many deep questions and stuff. For those of us that are more on this path and have had experiences, or at least just had that spark lit inside of them to ask the deeper questions, the control system has another level of distractions. It might bring a lot of drama into their lives, and money problems, relationship problems, all that kind of stuff. For me, they really pulled out the stops. I had a feeling that I was here to do something quite profound. And I started to wonder whether maybe that was why I'd been experiencing the level of attention of this non-human force in the world from birth, because it's possible that they knew that even before I knew that, and I was being closely monitored. Well, they really pulled out the stops for me, and we're going to get into that. Going to get into tomorrow, not today. But they knew that I was operating from a level of consciousness, which some people, like I say, work really hard, to get that. But for me, it happened spontaneously, and it was irreversible. And I knew that the world, me, and everybody in it would never be the same again. So I think, upstairs in the astral meeting rooms or something, they had a meeting and said, look, we've really got to derail this guy, because the potential is there for him to do something. And they launched a program of deception on me. We're going to get into it, okay? I think some of you will find it really interesting, and it involved like a contact program. It involved them lying to me about who I was and what I was doing here, and involved a lot of other people as well. There's other witnesses to what happened, because of the nature of what they were trying to do, which was get other people involved. Some of those people may eventually come on here and talk. They might come on and be happy to to talk about it and talk about their part in it and stuff like that. But we'll get there at some point. But yeah, so tomorrow I'm gonna tell you about the, if you like, the trigger event that kick-started this whole derailment. It was a really clever move on their behalf, and it derailed me for, you know, maybe 10 years or so. But it didn't ultimately work. The truth will out, as they say. The truth will out. So I hope you're all well, okay? And we've got some interesting stories to talk about. And I know I'm not the only one going through this. I know that other people to different levels of conscious awareness are going through this. And yeah, we'll get after it. Okay, take care, guys.